Gate gate para gate parasam gate buddhi saha. Gate gate para gate parasam gate buddhi saha. Gate gate para gate parasam gate buddhi saha. Today I want to clarify the lineage of the Great Mother Prajnaparamita, and I want to give a few evidence in terms of why the Great Mother Prajnaparamita's lineage is in the Nepalese lineage, and her lineage can be directly traced through Kathmandu. I want to clarify the lineage of the Great Mother, and I want to give you some evidence why it is the Nepalese lineage and how I came to that conclusion or realization. And it's something that I had to decode and understand and go on this journey and to understand it for myself. So the first evidence I want to talk about is the Prajnaparamita Sutra itself. So Prajnaparamita in Nepalese, it's called Prajnaparamita, and you will find the name Pragya is a very common Nepalese name. So you will say just people that have names that use Pragya as a very common Nepalese name. So the first evidence I want to give is the Prajnaparamita Sutra itself. The Prajnaparamita Sutra is actually currently in Kathmandu, Nepal. Kathmandu is the capital of Nepal. The ethnic heritage of the original people of the Kathmandu Valley is like the Newar. So the Newar, they have their own language, and they are part of the Vajrayana system. So you will see the name Vajracharya or Bajracharya, which is Vajra. In the Newari lineage, you will see the last name Vajracharya in their last name as well. So they are direct descendants of the Vajrayana, and their Buddhism is to do with Vajrayana. So Hinduism is a infiltration into Nepal or infiltration into Kathmandu. So Hinduism is not the authentic original religion for Nepal. It's actually Buddhism. It's actually to do with Buddhism. So Buddhism Vajrayana lineage itself is concentrated in Kathmandu Valley. It's concentrated there in terms of the ancient original lineage. So you will find the Prajnaparamita Sutra is actually in Kathmandu, and the Newaris are the keepers, you can say, of the Prajnaparamita Sutra. Prajnaparamita Sutra has its own story and has its own history behind it as to where the sutra comes from, and how it originated and where it comes from. Where does the written sutra of the Prajnaparamita comes from that has its own background and its own spiritual history. So that particular sutra, the Prajnaparamita, the only sutra, the real one, taught by the Buddha, that particular sutra is actually located in Kathmandu, even at this stage. And the Newaris, they are actually responsible to protect the sutra. They're responsible to learn the sutra, chant the sutra, anything to do with the sutra. They are responsible for that. And even some of the sutras that has been demonically, telepathically infiltrated, and like the original sutra is a kind of a little bit misused from what I am researching online. They're struggling to maintain the original sutra. Like they have to go in and keep rewriting the original sutra or maintaining the original sutra. So they have to get their special paint and draw over the original sutra, the original words, because it hasn't been used in the best way. And I see that as a telepathic demonic infiltration, because the demons will not directly attack anything to do with spirituality. Demons will not directly attack it, but they will attack it indirectly through different influences, confusion in the community. So they will attack it in terms of that. So they will actually use the humans, and they will like sort of confuse the community, and they will kind of unknowingly, they will be a little bit careless with the sutra, and they will not know how to maintain it properly, because of the confusion of the demonic infiltration, various opinions about the sutra, and they are not able to properly preserve it like it should be because of the confusion within the community, and they want to access it, they want to touch it, they want to do different things to the sutra, they want to handle the sutra, they want to pray the sutra, they want to put sprinkle water, they want to throw petals, they want to throw rice grains onto the sutra. So that contributes to the deterioration of the sutra. The original sutra might tear, it might get wet, you might get staining, the paint will actually fade off because they're handling the sutra and they're using it in their rituals, in their studies. But they make a lot of effort, and they have a proper system and method to restore the sutras as well. The Newar community that is in the possession of the sutra, they take great effort in restoring the sutras. That is the first evidence of like the lineage of the great mother Prajnaparamita, that her identity actually is directly coming from the Nepalese lineage, because the sutra itself is in Kathmandu Valley, and the sutra itself is within the Nepalese Newar community. So they are actually maintaining and responsible for the Prajnaparamita Sutra. A monk called Nagarjuna, and him and the Prajnaparamita Sutra are synonymous. And Nagarjuna is someone that Lord Buddha himself prophesied, and he said a monk called Nagarjuna will come, and he will further teach the sunyata, and he will teach it so everyone can understand it, because the sunyata is all about the mirage. This whole world is empty, this whole world is a mirage, this whole world is only an illusion, it's like a moon reflected on water. And that's what the essence of the Prajnaparamita Sunyata Sutra is. And it is all about understanding everything, including your eyes, nose, your speech, even your whole body, everything as sunyata, even this presentation as sunyata. So everything is a mirage, everything is sunyata, and it understands it that way. So like an everyday human being that lives in this concrete world will find it very difficult to release the entire world. And they say a lot of the people are afraid as well to understand or release everything and realize not even the body is real, not even the family is real, not even the children is real, and everything that they did in their lives, all the hard work that they did, all the progress that they've had, those are all mirages, those are all based on sunyata, and they don't really exist. So people have a very difficult time making peace with that, or understanding that, or intellectually understanding that. There is that element of fear when it comes to the sunyata teaching, that people are not able to release the world. People are not able to release everything and understand everything as a mirage. So people have great difficulty in that. Nagarjuna actually came and translated the sutra, and it's called Madhyamika, and he made it, let's say, more easier for like everyone to understand. And the Prajnaparamita Sutra is not just concentrated within the human realm, it's not just for us, but it is also part of the whole system. The whole universe learns the Prajnaparamita Sutra, and it's important for everyone. It's important for the entire universe, because the Prajnaparamita, the sunyata knowledge, is actually what preserves the universe. Because as soon as you hold on to the form, this whole universe will collapse. Forget the earth, but the whole universe will collapse if you do not understand sunyata, and if you do not view the reality as sunyata. So the whole universe was like going to completely disappear. The whole universe was going to completely be destroyed. And all the gods of the heavens uh, did not have the solution for how to preserve the world, preserve the universe. And that's when Buddha came in and he realized sunyata, and he taught it. And because of that, we are able to continuously have existence in this world, or in the entire universe. So it's not, sunyata is not just for the human realm, sunyata is for everyone, but sunyata is in the human realm. So that's something we have to understand, is the sunyata that saves the entire universe is actually found in the human realm. And that's why Buddha comes to the human realm, comes to this earth, realizes sunyata. Yeshua, Son of God, comes to this earth and achieves his resurrection sunyata body as well. And the Vajrayana will be understanding and realizing, seeing sunyata for the Sangha, for the church, for humanity. And I'm doing the Vajrayana, and I'm doing my own personal sunyata as well. Very interesting story about Nagarjuna. He was a monk prophesied by Lord Buddha himself. In his spiritual journey, he actually went to the Naga world, so the snake world, the serpent world, the Naga world, because the Prajnaparamita Sutra was actually kept and preserved in the Naga world. So the Prajnaparamita Sutra was actually kept in the serpent world or the Naga world. Naga means snake, Naga means serpent. The Prajnaparamita Sutra was actually kept in the Naga world. So it wasn't in the human world, but it was in the serpent world. It was in the Naga world. It's not the serpent that we understand it in terms of like our world, that we are giving disclosure for the reptilian. It's not that. The Naga people are actually very spiritual. They have always been part of the Buddha Sangha, and they have always surfaced onto this earth to learn the Buddhism teachings, and they are very interested in the teachings, and they are harmless. The Naga beings were actually responsible for the Prajnaparamita Sutra, because the Buddha gave the Prajnaparamita Sutra to them to preserve it, because the sutra was too advanced for the humans. So the Buddha was like, no one's going to get it, because he had to go back to heaven, and Buddha had to finish his mission and go back to heaven. So he preserved the sutra in the Naga realm, or in the Naga world. So Nagarjuna's mission as a monk was to go to the Naga world and retrieve the Prajnaparamita Sutra from the Naga world and bring it back to the earth, because Buddha had preserved it there. And when the time was right, the right person was going to come in and bring the Prajnaparamita Sutra back to the earth. The Newari people are actually the keepers of the sutra in the earth realm. So that's the value, and that's the most important thing one can ever possess in the entire universe. So the Prajnaparamita Sutra is like the most important thing you can ever have in the entire universe, because if you do not know the Prajnaparamita Sutra, and if you do not know sunyata, the whole universe will degrade, it will collapse, and it will die off, because we are holding on to it. We are holding on to the form. And the whole point of sunyata is to get to the zero. The whole point of sunyata is to understand form is emptiness, emptiness is form. The whole point of sunyata, Prajnaparamita, is to understand emptiness, is to understand this world as a mirage. Like the Buddha said, this world is a moon reflected on water. That's how you have to view the world. And if you do not view the world in that terms, the whole universe will collapse. So it's not just the earth, the entire universe. Even all the great and powerful gods of this world, they have no power, and they cannot preserve and they cannot save the world. With everything that they have like gazillions of armies, they have everything, all the power, all the knowledge, they have everything, but they cannot save the universe. The only thing that will save the universe from completely destructing is the knowledge of Prajnaparamita, is the knowledge of sunyata, is the knowledge of emptiness. And that very sutra is actually in Kathmandu Valley. The demons are like, let's say they're onto it. And it's not a deliberate misuse. I don't want to say they're misusing the sutra. It's like the demonic confusion, that there is like confusion within the community, that are looking after the sutra, that they are not able to handle it properly because of the demonic confusion. They feel like they need to touch it, and they need to pray to it, and they need to sprinkle water and flowers, and they need to put tika in it and sprinkle rice in it. They need to do all these things to the sutra, and those are all forms of demonic confusion. And because of that, the sutra is deteriorating, and they have to rewrite this. They have to rewrite the fading letters, and they have to repair some of the sutras. So I see that as a demonic confusion, which it is, because the demons will always attack you indirectly. They won't attack something directly, but they can influence your mind. They can confuse you to misuse, accidentally, without knowing, misuse something. And you might think like, oh, I'm actually loving the Prajnaparamita Sutra. I want to hold it and I want to bless it. And I want to sprinkle holy water in it. And that's like your attachment to the sutra. And that's a form of attachment, and that's a form of poison that you have to overcome. So you don't have to physically touch it for it to mean something. The more important thing is for you to study it and for you to know what the sutra is saying, because it doesn't matter if you have the sutra in front of you, and if you don't understand what it's doing, then you are going to end up in the lake of fire. And the whole point of the Prajnaparamita is letting go. It's not abiding by the form world, but if you want to touch it and feel it and sprinkle it with water, that's an attachment. That's a form-based attachment. You're attached to the sutra. So you're doing completely opposite of what the sutra is teaching you if you really want to hold it. So that's like a demonic attack or a demonic possession, or a telepathic demonic confusion that they are doing. So that's a form of attachment. So you have to let it go and worry more about understanding and learning it than wanting to hold it and touch it and to put it in your head and be like, save me, save me. That's not going to save you. Unless you read the sutra and understand it, that will save you. Holding the sutra will not save you. So that is my first evidence in terms of how the Prajnaparamita lineage is in the Nepalese lineage line, because the Prajnaparamita was actually given to the Nepalese people, and that's a direct connection. If you want to join the dots, and if you want to understand it, and if you want to perceive it correctly, it is in Kathmandu, it is in Nepal, because the Prajnaparamita lineage is coming from Nepal. And that is deliberately done by Buddha. If Buddha wanted the sutra to be in India, he could put it in India. If he wanted the sutra to be in Tibet, Buddha would put that sutra in Tibet. But Buddha put that sutra in Nepal because the Prajnaparamita lineage is coming from Nepal. You can't say like the Prajnaparamita Sutra is there by accident, or you can't make up stories around it, because it is deliberate. It is spiritual and it is deliberate, and it is done by the power of the Buddha. And Buddha himself wanted to give us that revelation eventually, that Prajnaparamita is coming from the Nepalese lineage. And I have already spoken about the importance about the lineage component in spirituality, which is like Yeshua, Son of God, that has the Hebrew lineage. That lineage component is very important in spirituality.